This video will be concerned with personal selling. Now, personal selling is an element in the promotion mix. It's a marketing strategy used to promote products and services to the customers. Personal selling is developed by establishing relationships with customers. The sales team are appointed to make face-to-face contacts with potential customers. Personal selling is the two-way communication that exists between the salesperson and the customer. It's a face-to-face relationship. They meet and they're able to communicate directly, face-to-face. So, with personal selling, the aim of personal selling is to research customer needs. Clearly, when the seller, the salesperson, meets the customer, the salesperson must have some confidence that the customer wants the product. And likewise, the customer is there because the customer also has an interest in the product. So there's an element of checking to see whether the customer needs match those of the product, match what the product can deliver. So the customer needs and what the product delivers must mesh, they must meet. If they do meet, if both agree, if the customer needs and the facilities of the product mesh with the needs, then there is the potential for a sale. Begin the selling process. The aim is to convince the customer to purchase the product. So clearly, the onus here is on the seller, the sales representative, to convince the customer that the product will meet their requirements. Ideally, that should be an honest statement. The product should genuinely meet the requirements of the customer. However, the customer may not be aware of all of the facilities associated with the product. So it's the salesperson's job to point out what the product is, what it does, what are its characteristics, what are its attributes, and in what ways will it meet the customer requirements. So the customer selling may take the following forms. As I said, it may be face-to-face, sometimes called door-to-door contact. The seller and the customer meet. They meet in the same area. They meet with the common purpose of talking about and exploring the possibility of a sale. It may be face-to-face. Of course, in today's world, it may be on the internet, or it may be on the telephone, or it may be in a wide variety of contexts. But clearly, there must be some way of forming a connection between the seller and the buyer. And the purpose of that connection is to discuss the product and the ways in which the product will meet the customer requirements. So personal selling cannot be achieved without salespeople. And the salespeople, well, their activities include delivery, sometimes referred to in the literature as the milkman. Delivery means delivery of the product, or it could be the delivery of the information associated with the product, so that the buyer may make a rational decision as to whether to acquire the product or to move on and look for something else. There is a relationship, a type of shopkeeper sales assistant that provide face-to-face assistance. Clearly, in many retail stores, that's what happens. The customers enter the store and a sales assistant will approach the customer and ask if they may help or provide information or direct the customer to where the product that they're particularly interested in resides in the store. There could be a technical support team. When products become more and more sophisticated, perhaps technical support teams are required, and sometimes the technical support team will be selling their services and will want to have contracts with the customer. There's also, of course, door-to-door salespeople. They still exist. They approach doors trying to make direct sales. Sometimes they try to target what they're selling, so they may relate the product to the house or to the dwelling where the people are. So they may approach them and say, would they like new windows or a new roof, or would they like central heating, or some aspect of the property itself. It's unlikely they're going to approach to sell some obscure consumer product, but they may sell insurance or house insurance or accommodation insurance, or they may target the people in the house, in the home, with some product that is relevant to that situation and will get the homeowner's interest. Salespeople may offer financial services and advice. That's quite common. Usually it comes through banks and insurance companies, but it also can come through databases. When people take out, let's say, an insurance policy, the insurance company may pass the database information about that person to other companies who may approach the person and ask them if they are interested in their products. It's a very controversial thing, the use of databases in this way, but it does happen. Organizations invest in personal selling for various reasons. To demonstrate the product, especially if the product is a complex product, if it's technically demanding. Computers, for example, or particular types of computers. So stores may offer facilities for customers to go to the store and try out the product. So if it's a very technical product, they may wish to demonstrate the product, and in that way build up confidence in the customer's mind about the product and make a sale. Of course, the sales team needs specialist training to be able to do this and to be able to take on the questions that may be fired at them by the customers. Customers will have a wide variety of questions, the chances are, and the sales team must be patient and must be prepared to repeat the same answers many times, and may also be confronted by obscure questions, and they must show an expertise in dealing with those. The lack of selling by intermediaries. Well, sometimes if companies sell to warehouses or to distribution outlets, they expect the warehouses and the distribution outlets to promote their products, and some don't, or some don't take it that seriously, or don't put a lot of effort into selling the products of the company. So the company may wish to engage in its own form of selling. It may bypass the intermediaries and try to approach the customers directly, perhaps even open its own outlets. It's also the case, of course, that the intermediaries, the warehouses or the distribution centres, add on a considerable markup for themselves, which increases the price in the marketplace and which may deter some customers. So companies may go direct in some situations. If the company is satisfying a small market and target customers, so if it is a a company that's selling a very specialist product to a small market, the chances are it will have personalized selling. It's a small market. The company may know its customers. It may know its customers over a long period of time and have a long history of dealing with those customers. So it knows the customers. It'll have more personalized form of selling. Personal selling is an important aspect in promotion, and it's effective when marketing new products, expensive or technical products. So personal selling is important. It's important particularly when the product is complex, when it's expensive. For example, an expensive car will be sold by specialist salespeople within the sales outlet. It's an expensive car, and customers will have many questions and will want to test the car and will want to know about it. And they want good quality answers, honest answers, but also immediate answers. So the salespeople must be skilled in delivering that information. The salesperson provides information about the product such as benefits, features, price, its unique selling point, its USP. The salesperson is present to answer customer questions about the product. That's what the salesperson does. Answers questions about the product, demonstrates the product, talks about it, and tries to link the facilities of the product to the requirements of the customer. But also talking about the uniqueness of the product, the desirability of the product. So it's a selling exercise. The salesperson represents the company and its product. So the salesperson is firmly a part of the company. And the salesperson's approach is to ensure that customers have a direct link to the company. So when the customer is talking to the salesperson, the customer is talking to the company. So in dealing with the salesperson, the customer is dealing with the company. And as such, the customer expects to have appropriate answers, fast and efficient response, clarity about the product and about its facilities, honesty about the product. Now, personal selling is an important element in the marketing mix, as I said at the outset. The use of personal selling as a promotional tool improves the selling prospects of a product or service. So personal selling it's very traditional, but the skilled salesperson is able to judge whether the customer is seriously interested, if the customer has a genuine need and the product will address the need. So it is efficient in that sense. Personal selling is an integrated activity within the promotion mix, and the activity works alongside all the elements of the promotion mix. Delivery, the product, the price of the product, and the type of promotion, which is the salesperson. So we can see the various P's in the promotion mix: the price, place, product, promotion, and extended up to the 6 or 7 P's that are currently used. However, the salesperson is able to talk about the price, perhaps look at discounts or look at ways of paying for the product. The salesperson is able to talk about the type of promotion, about the facility that the company can offer in terms of backup, online services to give more information, telephone services for support, and so on. So the whole range of the promotional mix can be brought to bear on the sales situation, and the salesperson is able to draw on all of that. Talk about the price, where the product can be found, and what are its attributes and what are its qualities and its guarantees and the warranty and so on. It's all part of the wider promotional mix. Personal selling provides a form of exposure to customers and direct contact with other elements of the mix that other elements, I should say, of the mix do not provide. The direct contact, a salesperson and a customer dealing face to face, that's the way humans historically have communicated. That's a part of our psyche. So simply to give out a leaflet and say this product exists and here's the price and here are its attributes and here are its characteristics and so on, that is a piece of paper. The person is dealing with a piece of paper. The paper is passive. Dealing with a salesperson, that's active. The salesperson is talking to the customer, is allaying the customer's fears, answering questions, indicating the ways in which the product will benefit the customer. Now there are some complex ways in which all of this fits together, and different textbooks deal with it in very complex ways, sometimes fitting various types of promotion and various types of production and distribution indeed. In fact, taking a whole system, look at the organization, it becomes very, very complex. We're not going to get into that, but that's the sort of complexity. This one comes from Still and Cundiff, 1981. But there are many textbooks that have all sorts of complex diagrams. And you may look at this one later on, go back and stop the video, rewind to slide 37 and look at this. And you'll see it does make sense. It is very logical, but it's a very complex, in some respects, diagram. The point that we're trying to communicate here is that there are benefits of direct sales, and the benefits are the ones that we've been discussing, and perhaps that diagram is a little too sophisticated for what we need. Personal selling as part of the promotion program. Well, the diagram we just looked at illustrates how personal selling is embedded into promotional programs. So personal selling invariably is used by companies. Sometimes the selling may be the company dealing with another company, perhaps a company forward in the supply chain, a company nearer the customer, and there will be direct contact, sales contact, perhaps representatives of one company dealing with representatives of the other company. Or it could be the company dealing further back in the supply chain, back towards the sources of raw materials, back towards production. Again, the company nonetheless will have some sort of contact, and people tend to be involved. So the personal aspect of selling cannot be played down. The sales management work alongside marketing management to determine personal selling objectives and setting strategies for the sales team. The sales team are the people who deal with the customers directly. The marketing management team have a much wider remit, looking at the strategy that's to be pursued in promoting the product in the marketplace, identifying customers' needs and trying to address the customers' needs, even by innovating the product, by modifying the product and ensuring that the product is well positioned in the marketplace. But the sales team have a somewhat narrower remit. The sales team try to make sales. The name gives away their activity. They are the sales team. They're trying to make sales. Budgets are determined, and the sales team are given tasks and responsibility within the personal selling role. So the sales team have budgets and they must work within the budget. Clearly this is a cost in the organization. It's as much a cost as the administration or the accounts or the HR or even the production. All of these have to be paid for out of the revenue that's generated by the business, and the activities of the sales team have to be paid for as well. So budgets have to be allocated, and the sales team have to work within the budgets to try and meet their targets. Sales management is an important activity which facilitates and supports the sales team in their personal selling. So sales management, they will have some support. The direct sellers will have support. They may have an area manager, or they may have a senior manager back in the company who is directing their activities, who is supplying supporting material and offering training programs and ensuring that they are well briefed about the product and about the company and about the terms and conditions and everything to do with the product. So they will have backup support. The sales team need to be managed and seen as a separate department, detached from the marketing department. The marketing department are there to identify customers' needs, address the needs, position the product in the market, identify the unique selling point of the product, emphasize the product, engage in any innovative activity that the company is proposing, looking at what innovations the product could have that will further enhance it in the marketplace. The sales team are there to sell, and they need a structure within which to operate. They need a budget, they need support, they need a management and a management commitment to ensure that they are properly trained, have the answers, and they have backup. The role of the sales manager is to develop a sales strategy. Where should the sales personnel be deployed? In shops and stores? Should it be door to door? Should it be in a certain area? A strategy has to be developed, and the sales manager should develop that strategy. Should also recruit and select the appropriate salespeople. Generally speaking, salespeople tend to be somewhat more extrovert, more gregarious, more chatty. They can talk about things. They can smile and present the product and seem unruffled by what's going on around them. They're focused on the product, and they can demonstrate that they are happy and content with the product. They like what they're doing. So people who are more introvert and shy and less forthcoming, they may not be appropriate for this type of work. The sales manager should also ensure that the sales team are appropriately motivated, paid, and appropriately trained, so that the enthusiasm of the team is maintained. They should be paid well. They should see the benefits of their work, perhaps receive a commission. And there should also be an eye on continually monitoring the sales team and the sales activity to meet the objectives. Because something works now doesn't mean it will work in a month's time or a year's time. So there should always be an eye on trying to make improvements, find out what the problems are and addressing the problems. And also controlling the sales output, making sure that the sales output is there, making sure the stock is there and that customers' expectations are met. Otherwise the company will get a bad reputation. If the salespeople promise delivery on a certain day, make sure that the product is delivered on that day. Otherwise, the company will get a bad reputation. And try to build up a customer database so that future sales will be facilitated by salespeople having some information about the customers. And if the salespeople are dealing face to face with the customers and they have some history, they know something from the past, something positive, and they can talk about it, it makes it more personal, and customers are more willing to deal with that company and deal with the sales representative, because it seems like they are a friend. They have taken time and patience to understand the customer. So these are some ideas about personal selling and some of the issues associated with personal selling. As usual, go back over the video, wind it forwards and backwards, make your own notes, and ensure that you understand the major themes. A lot of what we've got here came from that particular book, and that's all I'm going to deal with in this session. So I'm going to leave it at that and say thank you for watching.